it's been a little while, but I'm back now. Stugan is sadly over, and I'm no longer in Sweden, I'm in England. In fact, I'm not even in London, which is where I currently live. I'm in the town of Biddulph in North Staffordshire, which is where I grew up. It's where I spent the first 19 years of my life. I'm sitting on top of one of the huge sandstone tors that litter the moorlands around this area. It's a place I used to come a lot when I was younger to just sort of think, to be alone, to just really sort of go through my thoughts and my feelings. And this seems like a good spot for me to do a short video catching up on what's going on with me, what's going on with Rosvita, and what's going on next. So the last couple of weeks, as you might expect, were utterly insane at Stugan. Not only were we all completely focused on getting our games into the best shape that they could possibly be, there was also a huge outpouring of emotion because we all spent 2 months of a profoundly life-shaping experience together, and that was coming to an end. We'd lived in a bubble in the Swedish woods, just making our games with only each other for company, and suddenly the bubble was popping and we had to go and face the real world. So here we are, and that's why I'm here in Biddulph rather than in London. I do like London, but as I mentioned in my first video, the one with the horrendous shaky cam, even worse than that pan I just did, one of the first things that really struck me about Stugan was how quiet it was and how you were able to find moments of real peace and quiet and just be alone with your thoughts. I really need that. I'm the kind of person that does need to just remove themselves from the world for a little while, and that's what I'm doing right now. So Rosvita's in great shape. Amazing shape, actually. Better shape than I ever thought it could be. One of the things I was talking with Will Freeman, the journalist, about was the idea that ideas can always afford to be amazing. You know, when they're up here and they haven't had to go through the crucible of proof, any idea is a fantastic idea. And boy, I have had more than my fair share of fantastic ideas. What Stugan has given me is the first time in my life where I feel I have truly proven, to some extent, the potential that I feel that I have. I've always had a real problem with sort of concentration, with focus. Terrible procrastinator. I can be thoroughly lazy. It's sort of annoying, actually. When I work for another person in another company, I can work really well, really dedicatedly. That's a word. But as soon as it comes to my own projects, complete scatterbrain, and I just can't focus. And I think to some extent, actually, there's a bit of fear there. You know, like I say, your ideas are fantastic when they're up in your head. As soon as you actually have to prove them, suddenly the possibility of them not being good ideas comes to the forefront, and that's scary. It's an adage with artists is that there's nothing more fearsome than an empty page. And but with Stugan, we've sort of faced that empty page, and to some extent we're beyond it. We've proven that Rosvita is a good idea, and for me personally, I've proven that I'm not the waster that I sometimes worry that I might be. There's a sheep down there going mental. I'm not a complete waster. I'm not the garbage man that I thought I might be. But there's still a lot of work to be done. And one of my biggest fears going forward, in fact, my biggest fear going forward, is that I will slip back into my old ways. I'll sort of slide back into a rut, and I'll lose the momentum that we've gained at Stugan. And there's no answer to that other than to just press forward. But more importantly, one of the hugest things that I've come to realise over the last year, and especially over the last 2 months, is that I really require very, very talented, skilled, intelligent, wonderful people around me. I work best when I'm like that. They bring out the best in me, and I think to some extent I can help bring out things in them too. Specifically, my team on Rosvita. Mark's one of my oldest and dearest friends. We went to university together. So we have a fantastic connection, and I've always been bouncing ideas off him and going to him for creative input. A thing I've learned with Joao and I were friends. We worked together at Bossa Studios, and we've been friends for a few years, but really over the 2 months I found a fantastic connection there, which is we actually work really, really well as a team. I think we have fantastic chemistry in the way that we bounce ideas between each other, and we're able to be far, far greater than the sum of our parts when we work together. So I'm very, very lucky to have him as a partner in making Rosvita. And there's also Laura, who is my best friend and also my fiancée, who's not only the writer for Rosvita and doing an amazing job at that. In no small amounts, she's the reason that I even went to Stugan, or I'm even making Rosvita, because where I've not believed in myself, she has. And when I've needed a kick up the arse, she has very readily provided those kicks, with a fair amount of force sometimes. But that's wonderful. I need that. So, the only thing that I can do going forward is promise to take all of this generous support, generous help, and generous arse-kicking that people have given me, and not let it slide back. And then also there's all of the people that I've met out in Stugan, who have been wonderful. Stugan's a crucible. Stugan is a life-shaping event. It's something that we're all going to remember and we're all going to point back to for the rest of our lives, I am sure of it. And you do something that huge with a group of people. You spend 2 months just isolated in a bubble in the middle of the woods. You're going to forge some very strong connections. And I already miss those people. I miss being able to just walk into any room in Stugan and just find, fantastic company and sometimes intense debate, great jokes, people up for adventure, just all-round fantastic people. But I don't miss it too much, because one of the greatest things I felt towards the end of Stugan was a huge sense of anticipation. Stugan was an accelerator, and it had accelerated us as far as it could. And, as nice as it would be to stick around, really the best part of Stugan, I think, is what it's going to do for us in the future. And now I have a group of 20-something friends whom I share a very deep connection with, scattered throughout the world, and with whom, if any of them find success, I find success. So really it feels like Team Stugan is out there, and we're just biding our time until we can erupt forward and take over everything. But yeah, I think Stugan, the end of Stugan wasn't the end of a great thing. The end of Stugan was the start of something fantastic, which I'm privileged to share with a group of fantastic people, many of whom are very close and dear to my heart. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think I'll call that one there. And I'm going back to London now. I'm going to crack on with the game. I've had a week to sort of come back down to earth, and there's a lot to be done. So I'll be doing more of these videos, and I know I always say that, but I really, really will. And just thank you for watching. And if you want to see more, you can hit subscribe, leave a comment, or find us on Twitter. And that's the sheep saying bye-bye. So I'll catch you guys later, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.